Well, g'day and welcome everyone to the show. Thank you for taking the time to be here tonight with me on the live stream, live from the shed. As usual, not much has sort of changed around the shed. Excuse me. So I'd just like to give a little shout out to all our regulars here, and I'll quickly go back through the chat. We got Peter up north. And who else? We got Becky. He might be at the pub. Becky's Weber's Adventures. Funk and Hungry. We got Cody. G'day, Cody. Stylesy. G'day. And who else we got? Yeah, my sister's in here. My mum and dad's in here. We've probably got a few others trickling in. I thought I'd play the old intro I used to use, which goes for about 3.5 minutes. It's... I haven't used it for a while. Just gives everyone time to, by the time they get the notification to, by the time they log on and all that sort of stuff, hopefully they don't miss much. And, hey, what are you doing? Come here. The shed dogs are running around, having a bit. Look, here we go, right on cue. The shed dogs are here. Yes, right. You may have noticed, hello. I haven't got any food for you. Mummy was not. Mummy was nice, Mrs. Shed Talk. She was really good to me before because she brought up a cup of tea and ice cream with some lollies in it and some water. So you may have noticed that Shed Dog 2 was limping a little bit. He's done just a tiny little bit of muscular damage, and we've got him to the vet. Everything's okay. It's just, young and silly, and he goes around at 1,000,000 miles an hour and decides to leap off things and when you're young and silly, you do all these wonderful things. So the shed dogs are gone, or they might make another appearance, or they might go around and find some clay to chew on or something like that. Right, we'll start off with, now we've got our intros and well, it's the temperature is, look at that. Look how short and wonderful that hair is. Nice and short. It is getting a bit cooler up here. I got a shirt on underneath and I got the beanie on tonight. So anyway, yep. Emma's here. She forgot it was Thursday. Yes, Emma's got a big weekend coming up, so hopefully all's going to go well. But anyway, coming up, it's only recently been announced lately, is the Old Petrie Town Steam Fair. But let's get a plug in for that on the 31st of May, the end of this month, and the 1st of June, 2-day event. And you'll see, we'll have examples of steam traction engine, as you've seen pictured on here. You'll probably see some steamrollers. There's going to be other vintage machinery there, old tractors and stationary engines and all that sort of stuff, plus a few visitors. There's a fair bit going on at our club at the moment. This is put on by the at Old Petrie Town, just northwest of, slightly northwest of Brisbane. And it's put on by the Queensland Steam and Vintage Machinery Society, which I'm a member. So is my wife, and it'll be a good weekend. Hopefully it'll be nice and dry. We'll have great weather. But coming up further down the track, we've got a fair bit going on for our club. We've got this. We'll also be at the Brisbane exhibition, putting on a display there. And then later in the year, in August, we've got a big event coming up in Toowoomba, and that's the National Rally, which I didn't actually bring up the poster for that, but I will. If I find a video, I'll just go and find that poster and share it with you a bit later in the stream. And later on, I'll be probably doing an interview with a couple of the organisers one night, so that should be really nice. So anyway, moving right along. We'll hide that on stream. And then we're going to go over to the old workbench here. And we're going to have a look at a book, Fowler Road Making Machinery. During our discovery or process of learning things about our steamroller, I managed to start looking for any and all information I could, and I was quite surprised at how much how much information is still out there. Hopefully you guys can hear me all right. Nobody said you can't hear me, so we must be doing all right. And I've got 3 books in total at the moment, and these are all reproductions of advertisements or booklets that John Fowler and company would put out to promote their equipment. Very much the same as what modern day machinery makers excuse me, do today, a lot of them. But however, it was done in book form, and we'll just go over to the shed here, not to the shed, to the bench, and they showed pictures. Hopefully you can see that all right. I'll just zoom in a bit more. Let me get that right. Let me just see that. Yeah, it's looking all right. Now, John Fowler and company. G'day, Jamie. How are you? Thanks for being here, mate. I hope you're going well and making some progress on your roller. I've been making slow progress. Those of you not familiar, Jamie, who's in the chat, he's from the UK. He's working on the same model steamroller as we are here. So John Fowler and company. Jamie, if you haven't got yourself this book or haven't seen it, definitely go get it, mate. There's some really good information in it. You probably have, I'm sure you have. So Fowlers were in places around the world that most of us have never been to or heard of, and they're quite proud. There's a lot of, in these books, there's testimony of from various customers and so on how good their equipment were, and they did have a good name. And you can see this illustration shows a lineup of traction engines and steamrollers with an overhead crane. It's probably one of the erecting shops or the finishing off or something like that. And obviously all their contact information down there, and probably even their phone number if they had telegrams. So you'd send a telegram on what you want. So there's an example of a single cylinder. Oh, no, sorry, that's a compound Fowler steam road roller. It's probably about the size of yours, Emma. It's not one like this one, not a T3. The illustrations is fantastic. Like, for instance, let's get a good close up here. A cutaway of the cylinder. Absolutely brilliant, just fantastic artwork, and showing how it's bolted on and located over the hole on the boiler barrel, and gives you a rundown of it. Now, I got to admit that I'm actually reading this upside down, because if I was to spin it around so I could face it like that, it's going to be upside down for you guys. But I will do that. It's just the way the camera is. I've got it set up at the moment. So the merits of the compound compared to a single cylinder are so well known that they scarcely need repeating. This is typical sort of, promotional sort of. So briefly as follows: an economy of 25 to 30% reduction in consumption in fuel and water. This feature gains increased importance when it's remembered that all saving goes to reduce the strain on the fire, on the boiler and firebox, so that longer work and longer life, so on. And also there's promoting that, it's not going to cost you as much to run and all that sort of thing. Steam pressure is efficiently used, no power wasted, and it further goes on to, promote the engine itself and how it works and all that sort of stuff. Because back in the day, we didn't have manuals like you do today from car makers that say, don't drink the battery acid or stuff like that, you know. No, if I flip it around, Peter, it only mirrors it. I probably could invert it if I use the other software, but anyway, look, we're just going to go for that tonight. So this is a really good book. It didn't cost a lot of money. So there's an example of a single cylinder Fowler over here. Very much the same, just with a single cylinder instead of a compound. And they talk about, you know, what makes the thing go, how reliable things are, then made out of special steel and the shafts and all that sort of good stuff. Just once again, Fowlers were definitely the cream of the crop out of everyone who made steam vehicles at the time, and they did have really good reputation. However, you know, as with everything, that's debatable. So here we are, the steering, and this is an example of a larger one, much larger than what's on this roller. The actual size of the gear is a lot smaller. This one, being a larger one, has more teeth. Emma, who's in the chat at the moment, is dealing with an issue with her roller. She's got some sort of bodgy tooth on her steering, and that can cause a lot of problems. But it's showing that it's mounted with a ball race on both sides of the supporting bracket, and that's certainly evident. This is an old ball race here, or what's left of it. The other one's just over in the car, and I need to go and get a sample, go get a new one. They talk about how the engines are tested, so I'll just flip this around. Each engine is fully tested on breakup to its maximum power, and indicator diagrams are taken to ensure correct setting of the valves. In addition to this, the engines are given a running test on the road to ensure that all bearings are correctly adjusted and everything is in proper order before dispatch. So you're definitely getting a quality product, that's for sure. You knew that when you brought this, it would be ready to go. Very much like machinery is today, or you go and buy a car. So over the page is a few users of fellow road rollers, and it lists a whole bunch of, you know, like the War Office, India Office, you know, the Russian, the Turkish, Philippine, Japanese, Spanish, all that sort of thing. And I'll see if I can find any here in Australia. Yeah, Tweedshire, there we go, Tweedshire Council, Townsville, Melbourne Corporation, Brunswick. You know, there's a bunch. They really were all over the world. Montreal, Toronto. You know, a lot of these have gone by the wayside. They've gone to scrap or something like that, been cut up, lost. There's a lineup. This is an excellent book for its price, that's for sure. We'll just flip through a few more. And as the steam era died down, Fowler did transition into motor rollers, more modern day equipment. And there's an example there on the page. Just, hey Dan, how are you? Thanks for being here. So this book, whether if you're not a Fowler enthusiast, you're just an enthusiast of steam vehicles, road steam vehicles, this is an excellent book. So Fowlers did offer a steamroller. This particular steamroller, the T3 Fowler roller, there we go. That's better, I can see that. in what they call a convertible. So not so that the top can come off, but it could either be over here on this page a roller form, or over here on this page here it could be in a tractor form. And they state quite clearly that the conversion from one to the other would not take long at all. So you'd buy an engine and it would come however you want it configured. So it'll come with the tractor wheels, and they'd also ship the roller wheels as well, or it came as a roller and shipped the tractor wheels. So I'll just read, you know, they're talking about for many conditions, especially where the capital outlay in plant has to be kept down to a minimum, the ideal engine for road authorities, surveyors, contractors, is the use of the dual purpose machine, which can quickly converted from either haulage in the tractor form or road rolling work. And I'll just see where they talk about. I do have another a flyer document, and they actually say that it would only take them like, you know, 3/4 of an hour to change it over or something like that. Righto, a lot of rollers came fitted with a scarifier. So, yeah, if it's, this is the one pictured here is the Jackson's paint and scarifier. A lot of them were fitted with an Allen 3-tine scarifier, very similar in design. This particular roller we have was fitted with a 3-tine scarifier. However, when we got it, it didn't have the scarifier, but it had everything there for it, as in terms of a strengthening bar along the side of the boiler, and a what else was, and on the sand cover, you can see where this bar is running down. That's the sand cover, so it's set up to take a scarifier. Sorry about that. Or you could have a independent scarifier where the thing would dig into the ground and rip up the hard ground. That was the job of the scarifier. Did put a lot of stress on the steamroller, as they do. Here's one here set up. So it's got a belly tank underneath it for tar spraying. So you'd set up a steamroller, the steam would heat the tar, so you could do everything you needed with the steamroller. You could rip up the road and spray it with tar and put it down with grit or stones. And there's an example there of a steamroller with the wagon, the riveted wagon on the back, which carries your grit. They had everything. Living vans, if you needed a living van was usually towed behind a steamroller, and because that you had your wife and your kids in there, and you just went from shire to shire or county to county to doing your road rolling. You're a contractor, and that's how you did it. Water wagon, if you wanted a water wagon. So they really did cater for everyone and everything they needed. And on this page here, I'll just flip it around, and it showed you the various sizes of road rollers. So everything from a 6-ton right up to a 16-ton. Now, our roller is classed as an 8-ton road roller. I've only ever seen bigger rollers in other manufacturers. I've never seen any really big Fowler ones. And on this page here is an overview of the works and some of the equipment in the factory for manufacturing, and a photo of the erecting shop, very similar to the one I have on one of the other computers and I've showed on the stream before. You could also get flat wagons, steam truck. They catered for everything. Cement mixers, you name it, they had it. And once again, an absolute superb book. Actually, I'll flip that up upside around. Absolutely superb book. If you need it or would like it, you can buy them online. G'day, AJ. How are you? Thanks for being here. You know, so hang on, let's show this silly bugger on screen again. So they certainly did. I'll have a drink of water. I'll take a sip. Certainly did cater for everything. And if you've got any questions, put them in the chat, put a Q in front of them, or put them in capital letters, whatever you like. And we'll go over to our, where are we? We'll go over to our album here, and we'll skip through a few photos. And we might start with this one as soon as I share it, that is. Yeah, Dan, it's beanie season for me anyway. Look, I got no hair, so I got, see, that's how nice and short, nice and manageable. So I got to keep the head warm. It might help too if I turn that on. Oh, maybe not. Oh, Jamie, excellent. Jamie's putting some tubes in. Way to go, mate. Way to go. Oh, man, that's wonderful. She just got back from the pub. Oh, curious. Funny. Righto. Here we go. Have a look at this bloke. What's he doing? He's just lying around. So this is, I just forget what I was doing here, but you can see there's a spanner behind me, and this is outside in front of the old shed, and obviously during summer, and I'm probably trying to get bits and pieces off during the dismantling. But these three studs here, they were part of the strengthening bar that ran along from the boiler here back to where the scarifier would be mounted, and to help strengthen it, because there's, like I said, there's a lot of strain on there. Here we are looking down at the end of the axle boxes, the rear axle, starting to take things off. And you can see the build-up of you know, crap and so on and so forth. Now, Jamie, who's in our chat, often the axle boxes come loose and they move, and they slowly grind their way or wear their way into the plate. And Jamie had quite a bit of wear on his and had to get that repaired. There is a little bit of wear you can see in here, but nothing compared to what Jamie has had to deal with. So all these engines, as part of the process of restoration, and I've said it before, regardless whether it's a steamroller or you know, any sort of vehicle, when you start getting into the nitty gritty, you really start to find all sorts of things. And this is Mrs. Shed Talk there having a look. In the background, you'll see our chicken, and that's one of the main bearings out of the roller as we took it out. So there wasn't much wear there at all. And this is one of the original bearings from, you know, it's been in the engine all its life, as far as I know. I can't tell otherwise. I don't think it's been replaced, but there you go. And just further looking down, and I'll flick through these pretty quick. So I got both halves off, and there's the old trusty forklift, and that's before I made up the backrest to go on. And you can see that we're in the process of taking the rear axle out. With the rear axle out, it was, there's a, looking through, bolts undone, you can see the amount of grind that's built up. And just looking back down again, not much has changed. We're looking into the old shed here. That's the rear axle with the gear on it on the bench. Before the bench has got and just more parts. When you is that a video? Yeah, it's a video. Let's play this video and see what happens.
Oh, good day, everyone. We'll do a little video update on the progress of the roller. The weekend took the axle off, or the axle out, with took the axle boxes apart. Heaps of build up of crud from many years of service. And wander into the workshop. The axle boxes sitting on the floor here, waiting their turn to get cleaned up and inspected. Make sure there's nothing wrong, clean up the bearings. And, still got the cover plate there. The rod for as part of the reversing lever. And some parts already cleaned up, like nuts and bolts and things like that. Got to clean the threads up on those yet. And the reverser, which will be done very shortly. All right, guys, I'll see you next time.
Righto, so I'm back. So that was excuse me. That was in the old shed, way before, years before I even thought about doing stuff on YouTube. I was watching YouTube at the time, but never thought about doing live streams or anything like that. I didn't have the audio equipment that I have now, like the wireless microphone giving us good audio and all that sort of stuff. So, yeah, it's good to look back on this sort of stuff, and probably need to incorporate some of those older videos into Rehashed or something like that. But we'll keep moving on with the restoration. I'll flick through pretty quick. I'll start with this. This is a professional live stream. Apparently not. Where are we? There we go. There we go. No. There we go. Yeah, I know what I'm doing. So by this time, we'd taken both rear rolls off. What's for dinner, G? Yeah, AJ, you're right. We've come a long way. Both rear rolls are off, and we're getting ready to take the tender off. I'll flick up here. I'm going to flick backwards and forwards. Here's my dad helping me. Mr. Shed Talk is also there helping, and we're starting to take the second shaft gear out with the forklift, of course. I've said it before and I'll say it again, the forklift has been the best buy I have ever done. Once I brought the steamroller, the next thing was the forklift, because as you can appreciate, everything's pretty darn heavy when you take things off, and I wasn't going to take any chance, and the forklift was just the best option. So here we are, we got Dad driving the forklift, and we're taking the...
Here we go, we're lifting the gear off, the second shaft. Came off really nicely. Righto, there we go.
And here's a close-up of the steering mechanism of the roller. This is the worm wheel and worm, and you can see where those ball races, this is the way it's mounted. You can see where the ball races are meant to be at the back and also at the front. Chops and veggies sounds good, G. We didn't have much, actually. So that's also something Emma needs to look at with her roller too. Definitely need the thrust bearings there to help smooth everything out. Righto, let's move right along. And this time we took the wheels off to take the tender off, and you can see we're getting ready to take the tender off. We've got the forklift at the back there, a couple of bolts underneath it, and here I am running away from the camera. Dad's there in his safety boots, giving me directions. We've taken all the bolts out, all that sort of stuff. And of course, Mrs. Shed Talk over in the back as well, helping out. Like I said, the forklift, it just made things so much easier. That'll do for that. You get the picture. And then we just started working more bits and pieces coming out, taking off, all that sort of thing. And once again, this is the sort of thing we had to deal with. This is one of the washout plugs, and taking the washout plug out, you know, the amount of lime scale that was built up inside this boiler, it's absolutely amazing. You can see, we punched through this washout plug, and you can see how thick it is inside, plus everything else. There's probably a better look. And in between this, of course, there was several washouts. It's just horrendous in there, that's for sure. So there's the gang, Mum and Dad and Mrs. Shed Talk and myself and Mum and Dad's dog Honey. Yeah, Peter, I've used that forklift on wet ground many a time, and you'd be surprised where I've actually gone with it. And there's a very young, fairly young Shed Dog 1. And while she laid there while I was working away, cleaning up the surface rust off this part of the steamroller. She doesn't come. She comes up every so often, of course, now. All right, so we're into the sandblaster, sanding parts. Once again, this is what you do. You take things off, you sandblast as much as possible and clean it up and so on. I'll skip right through. Sandblasting one of the axle boxes, or one half of the axle boxes. And painting, I just did some test painting with this. It's a gloss Brunswick green. I thought that's the colour I was going to paint it, but I'm not sure yet. Most of you have probably seen this before, but that's the roller way before I owned it, and that's where it sat in the park. Like a lot of steam rollers, that's where they ended up, in a park. And unfortunately, over the years, a lot of bits and pieces were stolen off it. However, fortunately, a lot of the bits and pieces that were stolen off it have come back to me. And I'm really lucky with this engine. The only thing that's probably missing now is things like the regulator and the canopy. And that's, I can remanufacture those. I have the I have the drawings and that. These are various photos I've used during, you may have seen from time to time, just using the phone and doing long exposure and all that sort of stuff. And once again, this is going back a few years, Dad's helping me work on different bits and pieces. Some bloke here, he's doing some welding or thinks he looks like an expert or something like that. Yeah, the things you do. But moving right along, and then at that stage we, we just had a part of a roller. It was still like that. So we'll go really rip through here. The gear guard, it was covered in built up grease and grime. Once again, Dad getting into it and doing a lot of the work, the heavy lifting, certainly been a big help. There's Shed Dog and the gear guard and so on. Once again, the old shed, the backyard. We've changed cars over time. One thing I was missing, or I had a sample of, was the rope guide rollers for the winch. Now, most of these engines are fitted with a winch so that if you get yourself into trouble, you can get yourself out of trouble. I had one sample, and that's over at the back there. And so I made up some drawings as to how I was going to manufacture these. In hindsight, I went about it the wrong way, but the end result is I've got two really good rope guide rollers now, which when they go back on, they'll last another 100 years. And there's more parts. We've got parts of the steering mechanism, the crankshaft, and other bits and pieces off the roller. The other good thing, and Jamie, if you're still in the chat, I'm not sure whether your engine's got these, but all the parts have been marked with numbers and stamps. There's sort of no wrong way of putting this back together in the wrong spot. You can't go wrong. You follow these numbers and everything's going to line up. So that's one thing I found. And here we are. I've got the old shed copped a bit of a flogging. I was using it to hook on to the steam chest cover, and I even used the hydraulic jack to put a bit of pressure on to try and get that off. But slowly we got it off. Oh yeah, that's cool, Jamie. We got it off, and it took a bit, hitting scrapers, getting it underneath and getting it loose. Everything here is pretty well cleaned up. We're going to go for new studs when we put it back together. It's just the right thing to do. And there you see we've lifting the steam chest cover off. So Jamie, have you found those numbers on yours like I just showed you there? Be interesting to know if it's and there you have, we had success. Hey Roger, how are you, mate? Thanks for being here. We had success with getting the steam chest cover off, but this is probably and you see how I sort of went about things. I hooked on straps to lift and pull and tow things off, so make it easy for me to get things off. So we're looking down inside the steam chest. Now this is normally an area you don't see because it's got that cover on it and there's steam in here. And this is the condition it was in when I took the cover off. You can see a little bit of ingress. Jamie would be interested in this, of dirt and debris. However, this other side, whatever oil they were putting into it, it hung on like you wouldn't believe. This is how good it was when we got in there, and I was really pleased to see this because there was no, you know, bad rust or deterioration or scoring or anything. I think, Jamie, you had to, did you have to get your valve faces remachined or anything like that? So this is a close-up of the valves. These are the things that determine where the steam goes on what side of the cylinder. And just, once again, just close-up shots. I took all these shots for, obviously, when I come to go put it back together, you know, where things go, how much, you know, how much thread sticking out, all that sort of stuff. As you can see, a little bit of water ingress had sat in there, but no major damage whatsoever. So I was really pleased about that. Steam chest cover down on the what's the name? And I tell you what, I'll just flick through this real quick. Righto. Now, Jamie, you'll appreciate this. I put the ruler on there, and that's how much thread was sticking out on mine before I took it apart. 25, about an inch. So hopefully that's going to help you out. Oh, it's actually about 24 mil, roughly around an inch. Nice close-up shot there. And the other one was a little bit different, about 7, 8, 22 mil. So when I go put it back, oh, excuse me. Oh, sorry about that, folks. When I go to, this is important, getting the valves set in the right position will make sure the engine's going to run properly. And we're taking the valves out. You can see that there is a little bit of, thank you, Stylesy. There is a little bit of scoring there, but nothing. It was just pristine. It really was. I was really surprised at how good of condition it was, considering it had spent 50 years of its life in a park. And so, yeah, close-up shots here. So I'll move right along. And same with the pistons. When we took the pistons out, this is the low pressure, high pressure side, sorry. This is how good they were. They still had oil on them. Just beautiful. You couldn't ask for a better thing, and they came out easy too. Moving right along. These are the trunk guides. I took them off. They had to come off.
Good day, folks. A little update here on the removal of the trunk guide with the piston rod and piston and so on. What we found is on the back of the cylinder block is this plate which holds the neck gland, or the gland packing, and the neck gland for the cylinder. And of course, as you'd appreciate, the fit on this is very, very tight, and I've managed to move it a very little bit, maybe about a 1/16 of an inch or so. And once I separate this, a whole lot will come out. So that's where we're up at the moment. Thanks for watching.
Oh. Yeah, so they're the sort of things you find when you work on this sort of stuff. There's a different view. And we're taking all this off because we had there's some work, rectification work we had to do on the boiler. On the top sheet there, we found some issues, and you know, and there's wastage. You can see wastage here, and that you expect that sort of thing to happen when something like this has been sitting outside for so long. And all this black stuff here, this black oily carbon, that's just built up over many, many years. And all these bolts, they just came off easy because they were soaked in oil for so long. One thing we did find when at this stage, this is going back a few years, I'm pretty sure this is the original lining. Now, I did put a bit of sump oil on this just to bring it up. So I'm not sure whether this is red or whether it's the chocolate, which is faded. It's quite possible this engine was painted chocolate, which is one of Fowler's colours, and that's the original lining. To this day, I still haven't been able to get a build sheet or, which has all the details on what parts it had, the lining and all that sort of stuff. But the rear rolls have still got this lining on it. You can still make it out. And obviously I'm going to try and reproduce that. And I've got all this detail, but as far as I know, that is original lining from when it was built back in 1926. And we got a close up here. Yeah, so it's pretty amazing the amount of history. So here's a reproduction plate that was the guy who initially got it out of the park, had it made in the UK and sent over. And here's some plonker with a nice new shirt that his lovely wife made back in her old shed. Now, I've still got that shirt, believe it or not. It's many years old. It's starting to get a few holes in it. But this is Jamie. This is, if you're interested, that's the condition of the cylinders after I took the pistons out. Bugger all wrong with them. No water ingress or anything like that. It was pretty fantastic. So.
Okay, so here's the end result. We've spent about 10 minutes on it. That's going to be pretty
Hot
well
off the
as good as
press.
it gets.
Okay.
There is some
And this one, well,
damage down here that you
for
can
some
see,
reason it didn't.
but it's that
Mhm.
minute. It's not going to be a problem.
Yeah.
And
But that stayed on, but it took half your.
you can see.
What?
I mean, this is a casting from 1926 or around about there, so pretty happy with that.
Righto. So in the shed with me right now is Mrs. Shed Talk and the Shed Dogs, as you've probably seen on screen. There we go. Just off to the left. G'day, Joanne. Thanks for being here. Good morning to you in the USA. And Mrs. Shed Talk has done a little bit of work for us.
It hasn't worked out.
Hasn't worked out?
But,
Okay.
Yeah, I got that bit.
So Mrs. Shed Talk's working on a bit of a design, but it didn't go quite the way you wanted, did it?
No,
That's
the shed it took half the shed off there, and it didn't put the.
all right. Well,
thing on.
that's a work in progress. So, thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Your followers will.
Oh, dead dog.
Dead dog out there. You can probably. Here's a bit of entertainment.
Get out of your mouth.
Everyone's saying hello.
Get out of your mouth.
This is what you get with dogs. Don't do that. Come here. There's not much difference between dogs or puppies and kids. You know the drill. All right. Well, geez, we're almost at an hour. I can't believe it. You guys are still here. All right. Well, I'll wrap this up pretty soon. Right. So there's the end result to the. Did I show that? Am I sharing that on screen? No, I'm not. Come on, Mark. Get your act together. There we go. There's the rope guide rollers finished almost. I just had to machine and make them look pretty. They've come up really well. Yeah, Kerry, that's something we're working on, and that was her first attempt at doing something. So it's a work in progress, that's for sure. But it's certainly being worked on. Here's another book. We got that? Yep. that if you're an owner or interested in Fowler steam road vehicles, this is a fantastic book. It's a combination, it's a reproduction book, and there's about 3 different booklets all put into this one book. Absolute treasure trove of information in here. It's certainly helped me out a lot, that's for sure. Right, so we'll flick on through here, and the sort of things. Now, the spectacle plate, which stands in front of you, had a lot of wastage from being a lot of crap built up. So I took it off, and as you can see, I've got it clamped in here, and I spent many a night welding things up and grinding things back to make it all look nice and smooth and pretty, and it's come up really well. So here's the spectacle plate as you would see it on, if you're standing, it's on the tines of the forklift, but this is when you're on the foot plate of the engine, this is what's in front of you. The pressure gauge there was given to me by a guy at work, obviously not the original pressure gauge. However, at the time I didn't have one, and this was given to me, and it fits perfectly. You know, I just got to put a little bit of timber behind it to pack it out properly. I'm probably going to use that one in the meantime until I get maybe something close to the original, and that's another reproduction plate there. The working pressure was 200 psi, and you clean out every 10 days. So moving right along, and like I said, we'll wrap this up pretty soon. Being such a small boiler, I can reach inside and get photos like this. This is the internal, this pipe here, Jamie, you've probably dealt with this. This pipe here supplies dry steam to the injectors, and you can see how badly it was built up with crap and corroded. That was a bit of a challenge to get it out, but it eventually came out, and you can see all the rust and garbage. I've still got it, still got the bits and pieces, and I know that Head Jones didn't put the one back in on his. I'm not sure whether I'm going to put the one back in. And other parts, where are we? This is another part of the steamroller that supports the valve rods, and you can see all the crap built up in there, and the lid had been broken off. And once again, with a lot of these things, it doesn't just clean up in 5 minutes. You got to, you know, work at it. But eventually it does clean up, and you get something like that. You get a nice clean casting, so you can throw some paint on it, make it look a bit pretty, and get it ready to go back onto the engine when needed. And I made a lid up. I just machined one. It's not cast, it's steel. I could have got one cast, I suppose. Once again, I painted it green, and so on. The chimney base, well, it's pretty sad. I thought I was going to repair it, but it was just too far gone. Tried welding it up, but being cast, I wasn't too successful. But of course, you can braze it up. Here's more parts of the steamroller with those numbers on it. Like I said, you sort of can't go wrong with this. Nicely cleaned up with all the surface rust taken off it. And the original fusible plug. Now, this is a safety device that majority of steam boilers have in them, especially ones like ours. That's where it came out of, pretty high up inside the firebox. And just an overview of the old shed. When I had the old computer right beside me next to the lathe, that was pretty handy actually. That was a pretty good spot for it. And ever since then, on to bigger and better things. And just before we wrap up here, these are the new cast iron bearings that I machined out of solid cast iron. Call me crazy, but that's what I did. The cast iron came to me free on more parts of the roller that taken off and cleaned up. You can see I machined it on the lathe behind me. Took a fair bit of work, but you can see the amount of swarf and material I took out. I roughed them out to size. I was fairly rough finish there. I was hooking into it and, you know, getting bits of cardboard and bits and pieces to stop the crap piling up or getting it to push down. So I had the tool mounted in the tool post upside down, and I was running the lathe in reverse so that all the chips coming off it would go down onto the lathe and not all over the workshop. So I spent a fair bit of time doing that. Here's a bit of video. This is in real time, it's not sped up. So there you go, and spent a lot of time doing that. And that's sort of pushing the limits of the lathe. Now we do have a set of tubes here that my dad got, and the new old stock, so to speak, got a little bit of surface rust on them, but I did try them inside the boiler. They fit perfectly, really good fit. Before they go in, which won't be long, it's looking inside. We're looking inside the boiler, and we're looking at the firebox, the inner firebox. Normally this area is full of tubes. There's tubes that goes into the holes, and this area is all full of water. Excuse me. You can see, once again, the amount of lime scale we're dealing with. A lot of that's still there, and I'll have to do several washouts to get that all out. And one of the nuts was missing off the cylinder block, and this is where one of the brass bands would go on. So I made, using the equipment I have with me, I made one on the mill, or on the lathe in the mill, and using the indexing head to make a nut. And there's an original, and there's the new one on the left, a couple of washers, and a spanner, quite thinly made in England. And there it is in place right there. Oh, that's the old one. Well, that's right. I thought I had a photo of the new one. Oh yeah, there it is. There's the new one in place, looking good. So I think that's where we'll wrap it up at that, folks. I'd like to just say a big, whoops. I'm going to stop sharing. We're back here. I'd just like to say thank you very much for being here, and really appreciate it. Just quickly, there's that book there, Fowler Road Steam Vehicles, really good one. And this one, next live stream, we'll have a look at this one. This is a fantastic book. Parts Catalog 2. Some really good at reading stuff there. So I'd like to just like to thank everyone for being here and appreciate taking your time. It's been great to have you all here. There's 16 of you here right now. Stop sharing that. Oh, did I just do something wrong? Did I? Can you still hear me? No? Well, if you can, hopefully. Anyway, we'll go out with our usual time to toot our whistles and all that sort of thing. Thanks, Jamie. Please look after yourself. have fun. Jamie, looking forward to the steam rallies coming up in the UK. Hopefully you'll get to some. Yeah, thanks everyone. See you in the next one. A couple of new videos up. Go check them out, and we'll catch you all next week. See you. Bye for now. Whistle.